I've gotten into some kind of serious debates in the last couple of years with advocates of what's called the carnivore diet over the internet. The debates have centered around the need for dietary fiber. I've written, and I've said this in many of my videos and a lot of my articles in my Applied Metabolics publication. I've mentioned how dietary fiber is a very important nutritional substance, and that a lot of people don't get enough fiber to support health. And the carnivore advocates, I don't know where they get this from, I don't know what their source of information is, but they say that there's absolutely no need to ingest any fiber a day. And some of them go even further by suggesting that dietary fiber is not good for you, which is completely absurd. I won't. That's so stupid, it's unbelievable. But now let's talk about the truth about dietary fiber and how much you should eat a day. The first thing you should know is that there are two general types of dietary fiber. One of them is called soluble fiber. This is the type of fiber that's found in fruits, a lot of vegetables, beans, oatmeal. Those sources are dietary, are soluble fiber. The insoluble fiber is found in stuff like whole grains and other certain types of vegetables. It's actually best to get both types of fiber. They do slightly different things. The soluble fiber is especially important. Well, let me say that the insoluble fiber, one of the important things about that is it keeps you regular. It prevents constipation. If you're on a diet that doesn't include much fiber, it's like a ketogenic diet, a very low carbohydrate diet that eliminates natural sources of fiber such as fruits and vegetables, and especially if you also restrict water intake, you don't eat any fiber, and you're on let's say a ketogenic diet, there's a very good chance you're going to get constipated, and that could lead to other complications like hemorrhoids, diverticulitis, and so on and so forth. That's insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber is important because it actually helps to, kind of locks on to cholesterol and fat that you consume, and it more or less pushes them, pulls them out of the body. Soluble fiber is associated with lower blood lipid levels, cholesterol, that type of thing, a low density lipoprotein. Soluble fiber, though, in recent years they discovered the most important benefit of soluble fiber is that it's the main source of nutrition for the population of organisms that reside in the intestine or large intestine, known as the intestinal microbiome. And now again, I've written a lot about the microbiome. I will continue to do so. It's a huge topic in medicine these days. 98% of your immune system involves a communication between your immune cells and the intestinal microbiome, meaning if you have a healthy, balanced microbiome, you have a better immune response. As a matter of fact, they've shown in studies people who eat a lot of fiber and have a healthy healthy microbiome, if they do get infected with COVID, it's usually a very mild case. It feels kind of like a bad cold or the flu. The lower your the less potent your immune response, the more COVID affects you to the point of possibly killing you. Now, getting back to fiber, as I said, there's two types, insoluble and soluble fiber. Where did the idea that fiber is healthy come from? There was a British scientist who went to Africa, and he studied the diet used by the indigenous people in various African nations, and he discovered that these people eat vast amounts of fiber compared to Western countries. Some of them were eating as much as 100 grams a day, 150 grams a day of fiber, and they showed it because they had to basically, go to the bathroom, have bowel movements, maybe 12 times, 15 times a day because of all the fiber. All right, I admit that's a little bit of a problem, but they also showed none of the degenerative diseases that are common in Western countries, such as various gastrointestinal problems, cardiovascular disease, diverticulitis, all these problems. None of these people never had constipation. He traced it to their fiber intake, and he developed a theory that fiber should be consumed by humans. And over the years, subsequent studies prove that. Today, the Food and Drug Administration, which oversees nutrition in the United States, suggests that most people consume about 28 grams per day on a 2,000 calorie diet. That's a little on the low side, personally, but that's the minimal amount. The U.S. Department of Agriculture dietary guideline for Americans suggests that women under 50 consume 25 to 28 grams of fiber a day, men under 50, 31 to 34 grams, women 51 and older, 22 grams, and men 51 and older, 28 grams a day. Children ages 1 to 18 should consume 14 to 31 grams, depending on their fiber intake. Fiber, it's not as glamorous as some of the other nutrients like vitamin D, but it's extremely important for your digestive system to keep it running smoothly and to maintain the health and balance of the organisms, the bacteria and other organisms that reside in the intestinal microbiome. Now, the average American only eats 12 to 16 grams of fiber a day. That's way too little, and that's eventually going to cause problems. Probably explains why a lot of people have a condition called dysbiosis, which is an imbalance of beneficial bacteria to, let's say, pathological bacteria in the intestinal microbiome. Among the other functions of the good bacteria, it helps you absorb protein, amino acids. It also prevents the excessive absorption of fat and carbohydrate, which would have a great effect on body fat levels. So you always want to maintain a healthy microbiome. Fiber, among the benefits of fiber itself, dietary fiber, as again, it supports weight loss, it lowers cholesterol and blood sugar levels. In fact, there's a trick I wrote about years ago. If you eat a high glycemic index carbohydrate source, let's say something like fruit juice, or for some reason you're eating refined carbohydrate, these things hit your body really hard and cause a massive release of insulin, which tends to stimulate fat gains. However, if you accompany your rapid carbohydrate intake with a source of soluble fiber, the soluble fiber will slow down the absorption of the carbohydrate to the extent that you will get a much less insulin release, much less insulin, which means less body fat, chance of body fat gains, and also you'll maintain a much better blood glucose level. And because of that, dietary fiber lowers the risk of type 2 diabetes, and also dietary fiber is very important to help prevent colorectal cancer. Colorectal cancer, I believe, is the 4th leading cause of cancer death, and it starts out with these little kind of precancerous growths called polyps that can eventually develop into cancer. It turns out that when you eat fiber, especially the soluble fiber, the bacteria in the intestinal microbiome convert the fiber, or actually they don't convert, they produce what they call short-chain fatty acids. There's 3 of them: propionic acid, butyrate, and the other one's acetic acid. Now, the thing about butyrate is that it seems to prevent the precancerous changes in the colon that eventually cause colon cancer. So eating fiber in that respect goes a very long way towards preventing colon cancer. And let me tell you something. You don't want to get colon cancer. It's a horrible way to die. Very horrible way to die. And another way to help prevent that, and it's not pleasant, is to get what do they call it? Colonoscopy. It's not pleasant. I've had it myself. They basically stick a tube up your behind, a scope, where they can look inside your intestine, see if you have these polyps, and if they have any, they'll just cut them out right there on the spot. By removing them, it greatly lowers your chance of them developing into cancer. there's a genetic condition called familial polyposis, where people are born with like hundreds of polyps. They're born with that. These people almost always get colon cancer. So, but the point being, dietary fiber, if you're, let's say you don't have that familial polyposis, you have, let's say, the normal couple of polyps, the butyrate that's produced, short chain fatty acid, from eating fiber will help to normalize the cells in the intestine and prevent colon cancer. So what are some good sources of fiber? Split peas have 16.4 grams per cup. Black beans 15.4. Raspberries have 8 grams per cup. Oat bran 6 grams per cup. Bran flakes 5.5 grams. Cooked Brussels sprouts have 6.4 grams. So basically, if you eat a lot of fruits, vegetables, and legumes or beans, you'll be probably getting enough fiber. Like I say, oatmeal is good too. I mentioned they have something called fermentable fiber, which is the fiber that basically that's the fiber from the other two sources, soluble and insoluble, that usually from soluble fiber, and that the fermentable fibers would increases the healthy bacterial population in the gut. And again, the ways to increase dietary fiber: eat whole fruits. Don't drink fruit juices. Fruit juices are a refined carbohydrate because it has the fiber removed. Doesn't give you any fiber. You have to eat whole fruits. If you eat the skin of the fruit, that's where most of the fiber is. Whole grain foods. Don't eat white rice. It's a refined carbohydrate. White bread is a refined carbohydrate. White pasta. Stick with brown rice, whole grain bread if you eat bread, and whole grain pasta if you can get it. By the way, the longer you cook pasta, the more carbohydrate is absorbed. If you consume pasta by cooking in the style called al dente, which is where it's kind of still not soft, kind of firm, you absorb much less of the carbohydrate from pasta. That's a little trick. So that's the way to increase fiber. You got to go easy. If you haven't been eating a lot of fiber, you got to start easy. Now, what I do, I don't believe I get enough fiber from my actual diet, so I do take a couple of fiber supplements. I take it once a day. I mix together apple pectin, which is a soluble fiber. I add psyllium seed, which is a soluble fiber, and the third one I use is what is it? The third one. The third one is basically hydrolyzed guar gum powder, which is also soluble fiber, but I get enough of my insoluble from the food. The soluble is a little bit more important for the intestinal, actually much more important for the intestinal microbiome, so I focus on the soluble fiber. Now, I take this fiber supplements I take, it probably gives me as much as 30 or 40 grams of fiber in one shot. I mix it with you have to take it with a lot of water. I mix it with sugar-free Kool-Aid, and I take about as much as 15, 20 ounces, and I mix it because fiber works best when you consume it with water. You don't want to take dry fiber powder because it can actually swell up in your throat and choke you. So you always have to consume, if you're going to take a powdered fiber supplement, make sure you take it with a good amount of liquid and start out slow. It took me years to build up to this degree of fiber intake. You want to start out, if you're taking let's say a fiber supplement like psyllium, they sell it as Metamucil, but they have the cheaper generic versions. You want to start out with like maybe a tablespoon. Just let your body get used to it, because there's no upper limit. You can take as much fiber as you want, but if you take too much at once and you're not used to it, you can get symptoms like gas, bloating, and diarrhea and abdominal cramping. So you want to start off a little bit slow. If you're getting any of those symptoms, that means you've taken too much and you want to cut back on the fiber a little bit. So what else can I tell you? I think that's about it, really. But the point being that fiber is a very important nutrient. You don't want to listen to these wacko carnivore people that tell you that dietary fiber is not only not necessary, but it's actually bad for your health. I mean, they never could really give a reason if you put them on the spot like I've done and say, okay, you say it's has negative health consequences. Tell me what those negative, other than choking from taking too much powdered fiber without enough fluid, what are the negative consequences of taking fiber? Now, they might say, well, it gives you gas and bloating. That only happens if you take too much at once, or you haven't eaten fiber and start taking a large amount before you're used to it. There's no negative consequence with fiber. They can't give you any because there isn't any. And as far as the health benefits, well, listen, don't take my word for it. And this is what I tell people. Go online, go to the public, National Public, whatever it is, National Health Library Medicine, whatever it is, National Institute of Medicine, it's PubMed, it's called PubMed. I don't know exactly what it stands for, but it's free. Just put in dietary fiber into search and watch how many articles, thousands of articles will pop up attesting to all the research that's been done on the health benefits of dietary fiber. So to sum up, always make sure you include enough fruits and vegetables. Eat them whole if possible, no fruit juices, a little bit of whole grains. Don't go crazy on the whole grains. They tend to be a little bit more fattening compared to the natural fruits and vegetables. And take this the fiber. It'll greatly increase the health of your intestinal microbiome, which will keep you healthy and help prevent disease, help you absorb nutrients like protein and carbs and fat, and it's the best thing you could do. So don't ignore dietary fiber. If you want more information about nutrition, exercise science, anti-aging research, ergogenic aids, effective fat loss techniques, supplement science, which supplements work, which ones don't. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not, unlike all these other people on YouTube, I'm not associated with supplement companies. I'm not a shill. I'm not going to push supplements on you. You can always tell a YouTube creator, as they call themselves, you can always tell that they're being paid off by supplement companies, because they'll either mention the supplement in the video itself, or if in the information box under the video, they'll have stuff like use code 342 for a 15% discount on blah 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 supplements. That means they're shills. They're being paid off to push these companies. I wouldn't trust those type of YouTube creators, because they have an axe to grind. They're being paid to push these supplements. You'll notice I don't push any supplements either in my videos or in my Applied Metabolics. So I also cover women's health and fitness. I cover more topics in Applied Metabolics than any other digital publication by far. It's between 40 and 50 pages every month. Comes out on the first of the month. And so I can't help. Some of the other digital publications have as many as 25 to 30 people working for them. Applied Metabolics has one, me. And yet I provide more information in each issue of Applied Metabolics than those other publications do in a year. And I'm telling you, it's the honest truth. I mean, they got 30 people working for them, and they still can't compare with just one person writing for Applied. That's because they don't have my background. None of them has been writing for over 50 years, professional writing. None of them has studied nutrition and been in the trenches, meaning actually in the gym, for over 60 years. None of them have that. So you can't expect them to have the same content as Applied Metabolics. So subscribe today, www.appliedmetabolics.com. When you subscribe, send me an email. I'll send you an invitation to join my private Applied Metabolics webpage, where each day I post new information, hot off the press, as they say, about nutrition, exercise science, and medicine. I do have an email portal on my Applied Metabolics webpage, but that is exclusively for current subscribers only. I don't accept unsolicited questions. However, if you are a current subscriber, you're welcome to send me short questions about anything you read in Applied Metabolics, or anything that comes to mind related to nutrition and exercise, and I'll be happy to answer it as a appreciation of your subscription to Applied Metabolics. Also, what else can I say? If you like my videos, if you feel that they're of benefit, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is what you're looking at right now. and also tell others about it. I appreciate if you spread the word, because obviously there's no advertising that goes with this. So let others know that if they want an honest, truthful, evidence-based source of information with no commercialism and no nonsense and no bullshit, to subscribe to my video YouTube channel and also to my Applied Metabolics publication. And I'll end by saying, if you want to have the best friend you'll ever have, go to your local shelter and adopt a dog, because they are the best. And by the way, fiber is very important for dogs too. Take care.